What's up, everybody? My name is Chris Branham. This is another YouTube session with strategies for creatives. Today's topic is creative maturity. Let's brainstorm. Most of the time when we think about maturity, we're thinking about the stature or the physical representation of the individual as far as growth. We can look at that when it comes to nature or animals or things, how they mature and develop over a sense of time. What I'm talking about is the mental maturity and how it's portrayed through your physical representation and what you're doing. So those are the soft skills that you might be seeing or might be portraying to other people. So when it comes to creative maturity and being mature in your aspect or your growth, you have to understand about a few things. One, experience. Experience will exponentially grow your maturity no matter where you are. So if you think about a child and they're put into different scenarios or situations and now they're responsible to do things as far as like chores, or they have the ability to watch over one of their younger siblings, or within classrooms, the teacher now gives them, experience with being able to do some of the work or support or help or assist and be an assistant. Those will be areas where now they can mature, they can develop, they can grow. But that's because of experience. So how do you get there? You have to be able to be taught, and you have to listen in order to grow your experience. So if you're not one that is giving yourself over to listening or giving yourself over to wanting to be, out and about and be a little bit more transparent or fluent with connecting with other people, it might be difficult to build your experience, because anytime you're experiencing anything, you got to be open. If you're closed-minded, if you have one train thought of how you're going to do things, it's going to be tough for you to try to build experience no matter where you are, whether in a business, whether, building friendships, whether, just connecting with other people. If you're not open, you're kind of closing off. And what signals you're giving is, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be, around the group. I don't want to participate. I don't want to partake. I just don't want to be there. And now when you think about experience, that's initially what you're giving. So think about how you're delivering and portraying yourself as an individual to be able to put yourself in different areas and environments to have experience and build that in your repertoire as a creative. The second thing, the environment. So understand the environment that you're in when you have the ability to experience something. So not every environment is going to give you fluidity and allow you to do certain things. Some environments might be closed off and very, specific as far as what's necessary, what's needed. Understand that before you come in. Don't just try to come in and just be open and extremely, vibrant and full of all this energy, where that environment might not accept that or want that. But you have to take away what you can get from that environment. And that will also show your maturity level as well, because you're able to read the room. You're able to have more decision-making skills when you're looking at how people are maneuvering, how they're negotiating, how they're talking and communicating with other teammates or on the phone, or, collectively as a group session. That is all important too. So reading the room and understanding the environment is really key, because if you think about any animals and those things, I like to watch like documentaries and stuff like that. So when I see animals and how they connect and communicate with other animals, it's always a feeling out. Are they aggressive, or is this going to be a relaxed, communication piece? Are we going to be able to enjoy each other at this moment, or is it going to be a fight? So that's something you have to understand as well when you're communicating and you're understanding the environment. Third thing, collaboration. How you should collaborate. That is one of the tremendous areas of maturity that you'll see, because there's different types of collaboration based on the experience and based on what they need from you. Whatever you bring to the table can be accepted or rejected. So don't feel bad if all of your ideas or the questions you might have are not immediately accepted by other individuals or the team or the organization that you're in. That's okay. Now you can go back and be like, did I ask it the right way? Because sometimes you might present it in a way that's not really able to be received in a proper way, or that question is not for right now. So think about that as well, and that'll also exemplify and show your maturity in the environment that you're in and the people that you're collaborating with. Sometimes with collaboration, it doesn't give you so much information to know how to maneuver. That's where you ask questions. That's where you start digging in a little deeper to understand who you're working with, how you should be collaborating, what is the responsibilities and the roles that are for you versus for somebody else in the team. So understand that as well when you're collaborating. It's a big deal to know who you're working with. Do a little research on the back end to understand the individuals. Are they more playful? Do they have comedic gestures or something that could kind of bring to the table to be more lighthearted in the environment? Or are they very serious and poignant in their delivery? Or they're very, matter of fact in how they are as individuals? Understand that, because when you're collaborating, you don't want to be one, offensive, but you also don't want to be standoffish and be feeling like you're stepping on eggshells entirely in the process. That's a horrible way to collaborate, and you almost feel like a servant or not even a part of the team in some instances. Communication, number 4. I believe it's number 4. Let me check. Yep, communication, number 4. So when you think about communicating, communication is a art. So when you are communicating, think about how you're doing it. And one beneficial way to do this is asking questions. Pay attention to the questions you're asking to get more information, and be very specific about the questions that you're asking. So think about the questions before asking them. Do they make sense? Try not to ask questions where there's information already available. That will make you look very immature because you're not paying attention and you're not aware of the information or the environment that you're in or what documentation is available. That's going to be helpful as well. So when you think about the questions and the communication that you should bring to the table, think about what you can grab before starting to talk. Listening is a big communicator because you want to grab as much intel and information before you start speaking. You don't want to sound like an idiot. You don't want to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. You don't want to sound, immature in the environment. You want to sound at least mature enough to have a conversation and communicate well. But that's going to take listening and you grabbing information. So be careful about that before you start speaking. Listen as much as you can and jot down a bunch of questions. And if you have somebody that's within a team that you can depend on, that won't judge you in a sense, and you guys might be able to collaborate because your relationship is a little better, start leaning on them and ask them, hey, is this a good question to ask if it's a meeting type environment or it's more people involved? Or you can ask people that's around you that you might trust, not even related to the project or the team that you're in, just to get feedback. What's some good questions to ask? And start paying attention to how you're leaning on people and how you're communicating with friends and family, because that will also teach you how to ask questions and teach you how to listen. And the last point I want to give you guys is results. So this is a very broad area. So what do results mean? It could be anything. It could be the timeline. It could be how to communicate. It could be presentations. It could be, your responsibilities and roles and what you're supposed to be delivering. It's a multitude of things. But when you think about the results, that shows a ton of maturity because you're thinking about all the things that are required of you as an individual, being a part of the team or a part of the organization, or if it's working with other people, what is your role specifically, and are you doing everything that's asked of you? That is very key as well, because if you don't pay attention to what your role and responsibilities are, you could miss the mark. And by missing the mark shows your immaturity, shows that you may not be the right person for the position, or they start having doubts about you and what you're capable of in the position or whatever you're doing in your project. So that is something key to think about. Usually for me, what I think about when results, I think about the delivery date and the timeline, which is usually thought about in the beginning. That's a question you can ask. Also, the role and responsibility that I'm responsible for, who I'm supposed to be talking to, or who I should be, communicating with within the project. Who's the point person? How often should we have touch bases? When should we have touch bases? Should it be email, or should it be text, or should it be video call, Zoom, etc.? And then the end goal is what has been completed within those check-ins. Has it been delivered, and what's the delivery process? And is there any type of follow-up that I need to have? Does it need, based on the project, do I need insurance to make sure I cover those things? Are they looking for contingency plans if there's something that goes wrong? So all of that's going to come into play for me when I think about projects, especially for me in the tech world or graphic design or any type of consulting, design-based items. All of those are key because you want to make sure you do good work. You want to make sure you're dependable, and that alone will show your maturity in the creative environment. I hope that helps somebody. Like, subscribe. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. If you would like any support within the process that you're going, whether you are within a position, 9 to 5, or you're a business and you need help consulting and just figuring out your next steps, always happy to help. I would love to brainstorm with you guys and figure out how your creative steps can be your next steps. Peace.